Hello and welcome. So today we're going to be explaining how to read everything on this. So first off, it says kind of at the top, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is backwards for you guys, but what it says is that a chord is three or more strings played together. That's the only part of the first part that you really need to understand, because we basically have probably explained it in class before, what you do. So then when you're reading these, the important thing is going to be to know that the faded strings, these two down here, are not going to be played. So you're actually going to start from where this line is. And what you're going to do is the number in the circle is going to tell you which of your fingers you're going to use to play it. So 1 would be your first finger, 2 is going to be your second finger. Where you find the right fret and string to play is going to be based around using this as kind of your, it's like a picture of the fretboard basically. This is what we call the nut. First fret in this whole bracket right there, second fret, third fret, etc. So now, when we look at this one, this is on, you can kind of see it's on one of the second thinnest strings. That's going to actually be our B string. And that's what this kind of says. It says numbers of strings instead of saying the B string, which is my only gripe about this book. But that's how you're going to read it. So then you'd read the G7 basically the same way. It's the first fret on the high-pitched E string. And I'll exemplify these in a second. I just want to make sure that you see the visuals. Now down here is where you get to practice playing these together. So what they want you to do, these slashes indicate how many times you're going to strum it. These lines right here indicate where the measures are split up, so to speak. So you're going to start with C, and you're going to play it 4 times. And then without stopping, you want to go to the G7 chord, same number, 4 times. And then so on and so forth. You play whatever until it basically ends on that line. So I'm going to show you how to do the C and the G7 chords right now, and then I'll explain the next page. Sweet.
Do you watch it before you post on YouTube?
Sometimes. Okay, so what I was saying is how to make the C chord and the G7 chord. Now these are easier versions of them than the full chords, which I'll get into in a later lesson. So here's the C chord. We wanted to go to the first fret on the B string. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me see if I can angle my guitar better. Yeah, so you're going to go to the first fret on the B string with your first finger. Then you're going to take your middle finger and you're going to go up to the D string at the second fret. So yeah, and then you're going to strum down from the D string. And it should present that kind of sound. Now when you go to the G7 chord, there's a really easy way to get there. You lift off the middle finger, take the first finger down to the G7 chord, which is the first fret on the E string. And you strum down from the D string. Okay, so now what you want to do is that slash chord part. What you want to do is try to get it down like this. It's going to be 4 strums on the C chord. And then without stopping, you want to try to go right into the G7 chord like that. And then you're going to go right back to the C chord again. And then it ends with one more G7 chord at the end. And then I like to end it resolved with a C chord. That's a full C chord right there. Kind of hard to see it. I'll explain that later on anyway. Okay, so now the second page in the yellow pages, if I may, is going to be showing us the G and the D7 chords. So here, if I can get them to show correctly, here they are. So same idea. 3 in the third bracket is telling you that you want your third finger in the third fret on the E string, on the high-pitched E string. Now this has an extra one of the middle bracket right here. This is actually just a transition. You shouldn't actually play this. If you played it, it'd actually be your G major 7 chord, or a variety of that. But yeah, they notice that they don't have a chord symbol, and this is kind of just transition going on to the D7 chord, which has more fingers than any of the other chords. So your goal is going to be to get to the D7 chord, and what you're going to do is you're going to move the third finger from the third fret to the second fret, right there. Then you're going to keep it there as you add these other 2 fingers in. First fret on the B string with the first finger, second fret on the G string with the second finger. And when you play both of these, notice that the strings down here are faded out, so you don't play those. Alright, so let me show you kind of how to do that on the guitar. Alright, so we had G7, or D7 and G, my bad. Alright, so here is the G chord. So we have 1, 2, 3, and I have the third finger down. And then when we do for that transition is we pull it back to the second fret like that. We don't strum this. we add the second finger to the G string and the first finger to the B string. And then we strum down from the D string again. All right. Now when we play it for that slash chord part, what we're going to do is we're going to do 4 times on G, slide it back to the second fret, and add the first 2 fingers like that. So that's a lot of stuff to do really quickly like that, but it gets easier as you practice it. You'll find that it's actually pretty easy. It sounds like a lot, but it's easy. And that's my little lesson on how to do chords.